A useless boy, tricked by a band of other races, is dragged into the abyss, where they toy with his body and kill him slowly. But just when all hope seems lost, a miracle happens. He's transported somewhere else, somewhere even more terrifying. A monster of level 1000 stands before him. What will happen to Light? Stay tuned to find out everything. And hey, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and drop a comment telling us which country you're watching from. Our episode begins with this incredibly awesome anime. This was the beginning. There was nothing. The world was a dark, empty void inhabited only by demons, shayateen, and jinn. There were no humans. After that, different races emerged. The dragon race, the fairies, jinnayat, the oni, the dwarves, the demon race, the dark elves, dark jinn, the centaurs, the monster race, and finally, humans. The scene shifts to a beautiful village. We see Light warmly saying goodbye to his family, his father, mother, and his siblings, Alice, Alice, and Yumi. He promised them he would become a very powerful, high-ranking adventurer, support them financially, and make them rich. The scene moves to when he was in another city, perhaps having lost his way. At that very moment, a member of the monster race approached him and said, "Get lost, human. You are supposed to stay away from our path, or I will kill you." Light apologized and continued on his way until he reached the guild hall. Now it was his turn. A guild receptionist welcomed him and asked if it was his first day registering. He replied, "Yes, it's my first time ever registering. My name is Light." She began writing his registration form and told him, "You'll be rank F, the lowest rank, since this is your first time registering. But tell me, do you have any skills?" He responded, "Yes, of course I do." She said, "Show me then." He told her it was the infinite gacha skill. "I'll explain now," he said. A star appeared in his hand and he began spinning it. Then a card appeared with a thorn on it. But when he released it, the thorn was unfortunately bent and crooked. He told her, "Don't be shocked. Wait, I'll try again." He tried once, twice, and a third time, producing a rotten apple and moldy bread. She said, sarcastically, "No, your talent is clearly very good." He told her, "Do whatever you want." She then gave him the rank F card, the lowest rank. Before leaving, he asked if there was any job he could start immediately. She said, "Look, boss, the easiest jobs are posted on that bulletin board over there." He looked at the board, but his expression changed. She said, "I have a feeling you can't read, can you?" "Unfortunately, no, I can't read. I'm illiterate and ignorant," he confessed. She replied, "Don't worry about it. In that case, there is collecting firewood, carrying trays, and cutting grass. Farm work, essentially, a peasant's job." He said, "Anything as long as I can work and earn money." Afterward, Light adapted to his job carrying stones, filling the cart, and performing very difficult labor. He returned at the end of the day with a small amount of money. Despite his enormous effort, the money was little. But this is the world, he thought. Work a lot and you get a small amount of money. Work an easy job and you get a lot of money. The world works backward. This money was barely enough for him to afford lodging tonight. But then a great disaster occurred. He ran into a group of monsters. Masas Volnom. What do you think they will do to him? Please pause the video and write in the comments. One of the monsters bumped into him and said, "You idiot! Can't you look where you're going?" Light said, "I'm truly sorry. I didn't notice." They replied, "Nobody. You stain my clothes. Who's going to wash them now? Look, I'm taking this money. It's barely enough to cover my laundry bill." Light got angry and said, "Please give me back my money. That money is mine and I worked hard for it all day today. I won't be able to stay the night without it." But the monster struck him a powerful blow, knocking him to the ground, and then said, "Be thankful if you can rent a pigsty with that amount. Now get out of our sight. To let you go, we have to take this money. Come on, guys, let's take the money and get some drinks." Light was very sad and helpless at that moment. At that moment, he saw a member of the elven race extending her hand to him and checking on him, but he was startled. She told him, "Don't be afraid, I won't hurt or harm you." She then gave him a sisterly hug, so much so that he thought to himself, "Did this fairy/elf ruin her knees in the mud just to hug me? Am I dreaming?" She said, "Don't worry, buddy. You're truly awake. Come on, get up." He then saw the group. They belonged to a squad called the Covenant of the Tribes, Ufak al-Kaba'el, a group that includes the 9 races we mentioned at the beginning of the episode. The Wolfman spoke to him, saying, "I, for example, am from the monster species. My name is Garo. The girl who extended her hand to you is Sasha from the dwarves. And there are others here such as dragons and demons, and that dwarf with the beard and chin is Nano. That girl is Seoni from the Dark Elves, Dark Jinn. And that red man is Centaur, the Quantur. All we need now is a human to complete our squad. We formed this group in pursuit of a noble cause. We want to put an end to racial discrimination and create a fair world for everyone. First, my friends, if you are followers of the animerecaps channel, write in the comments which country you are from. If you are not following the animerecaps channel, please follow the channel. Then write done in the comments and also mention which country you are from. They continued their conversation, saying, "We need someone like you to join us." Light was very happy with this wonderful idea. The scene then shifts to Light, who is with a group of monsters. The dragon quickly saves him. Another monster tries to attack him, but another girl saves him. "Yes, it's Sasha," she told him. "What's the matter? I can't take my eyes off you for even a minute. We are in the abyss, the most evil place on earth. You will die instantly if anything happens to you here. I will protect you. Don't worry." However, the rest of the squad gathered and mocked her, saying, "Sasha can't keep herself away from Light. All the blood is rushing to her cheeks. Look how red her face is." She replied, "That's not true. I just don't want anyone in the squad to be lost." The dragon speaks to him, saying, "Don't worry. Isn't it enough that you know how to do one thing? You will cook for the squad. That's all we need. Now, let's move on. The road ahead is long." They continued on their way and suddenly stopped at a place to rest. Light went to prepare tea for them. One of the monsters approached him. Light said, "Wait, I will bring the tea right away." The monster informed him, "That won't be necessary. You are being exiled from this squad now," Light asked. "But why? What did I do?" They replied, "That's just the way it is. You are being expelled from the squad, and you are not coming with us. Don't you hear? You are now useless to us. Since you don't have abilities like ours, you will only hinder us." Sasha, the girl who was kind to him, said, "This child is so stupid that he makes me feel sad. Everyone supported getting rid of him and exiling him from the squad. Everyone mocked him." He told them, "You must be joking. Tell me you are joking." They responded, "Do we have time to joke with a despicable and stupid human like you?" He said, "But I'm not stupid. You were all so kind to me just a moment ago." "What happened now?" Paro told him. "We were just pretending and deceiving you, you stupid fool, but unfortunately you are useless. When we saw your skill, we thought this guy might be useful, but unfortunately it's worthless. Look, we've talked enough. Now it's the end. You won't talk much after this." The dragon ordered Garo to execute him immediately, meaning they would banish him from existence. Garo took charge of this, sharpening his very strong and shiny claws, and then tore at his face, which was now covered in blood. Light was utterly shocked and terrified. Standing before these monsters, he ran quickly, but they told him, "Run all you want. You will only end up as ground meat for some monsters in the abyss." Then Sasha, the girl who had been affectionate towards him and hugged him from the start, shot him in the leg with one of her arrows. This teaches us, my friends, never to trust anyone no matter the circumstances. The arrow pierced his leg, making him fall to the ground, crying and screaming in intense pain. Garo then delivered a very powerful kick that nearly broke Light's breath, and he started kicking him repeatedly. The dragon told him, "That's enough. Finish him off with one strike." Light tried to move and resist death. He was trying to use any means possible, even though he knew he was inevitably dead. And indeed, my friends, something strange happened. An instant teleportation circle activated. Garo tried to hit him quickly before he could escape, but the circle activated rapidly, and he teleported to another location, perhaps a place even harsher than where he had been. Light could barely believe he was still alive. He had activated an instant teleportation trap at the last moment, which sent him to another location in this labyrinth. He began to cry, remembering his mother, father, and siblings, missing them all. He recalled the group. Those monsters who invited him to join their team treated him well and showed him much kindness. I valued them, respected them, and believed in them, and I was so happy about it. And yet it was all just a lie. They tricked me into joining an exploratory trip into the labyrinth. Then they tried to kill me, treating me like garbage, with huge smiles of mockery on their faces, talking about some nonsense. I don't know what maestro they were talking about. I will kill them all and take my revenge. They hurt me so much. They will all pay the price, and I will not die here. I swear I will rip out their guts. Suddenly, giant rocky monsters level 1000 appeared. Light was terrified because these monsters were only spoken of in folk tales. He realized he had truly been transported to the deepest part of the abyss in this labyrinth. Despite this, and even as the monster started advancing and preparing to attack him, he was determined to fight and not surrender to death. He searched for a way to fight this thing and activated his gacha, pressing it again and again, but it didn't respond. He insisted on activating it to escape those scoundrels. Suddenly, the gacha worked, emitting a great light. Many magical gates opened from it, instantly annihilating the monsters. A voice declared, "I will not allow anyone to harm my master, whatever the cost." She then knelt before her master, Light, and began healing his wounds, apologizing for not being able to bear seeing his handsome face wounded like this. "Henceforth, I have taken upon myself the mission of taking care of you, master." Light was surprised that he no longer felt any pain. He stood up, the pain completely gone, barely believing it. The girl introduced herself. He told her his name was Light. She responded, "Master Light, Lord of Light. That name sounds majestic and heavenly to the ear. According to the maid's code of honor, I am bound by duties to my master, Light, Lord of Light. I shall live in your service, bound until death, and I pledge my absolute loyalty to you." Light was astonished and asked her, "And where exactly did you come from?" She informed him that her level was 9999, and she was known as May, the ever-searching maid. "I am an extremely rare card that came from your limited Master Light Gacha, and I will remain tied to you even after death." But Light was very surprised, saying, "My unlimited gacha is worthless. There's no way someone as wonderful as you could come out of it." "Miss?" The maid asked him to call her May, without titles. Light did so. She was very pleased and asked him for another request, to assess his abilities. "Wow, the use of my appraisal ability is one of my innate skills. It is unreasonable for your gift to be worthless, master. Please allow me to assess it." Her Light allowed her. May performed the assessment and could hardly believe it. "My master's abilities are hidden beneath a thick layer of concealment, and it is impossible for anyone not at my level to see the details." She then told him, "Your unique power is not worthless at all. Your gacha has an infinite number of paths. The probability of obtaining your gift and the rarity of the cards it produces vary based on the surrounding mana density. Mana is something that flows everywhere throughout the world. However, its density is at its lowest on the surface. This means the appearance of an extremely rare card, like me, is close to zero. But mana is abundant here, deep within this labyrinth. This means you have much better chances of obtaining a rare card. You are very brave, master, for having traveled all the way down into this labyrinth alone. However, facing any monster could be fatal, given your current statistics. But fear not, I will always be with you from now on." Light interrupted her, saying, "You are wrong. I could never face the abyss alone." Light began to cry, remembering when he was with that treacherous team. "But they all betrayed me. I was cut and shot with arrows, and I was about to be killed by people I thought were my friends. They said my gift was bad and called me a miserable human. All I wanted was to provide for my family. How could they treat me this way just because I'm human? The pain was unbearable. It hurt so much. All that talk about ending discrimination and creating a fair world, they just wanted to trick me. It's insane. They were so kind one moment, but then they turn into evil murderers. They will all pay the price. I won't rest until they get their just deserts." Tears streamed down his face. He was extremely angry. May then began to hug him, calming him down. The maid apologized for everything that happened and assured him, "With my power available to you at any time, I will make them regret the day they were born. I will inflict a severe punishment upon them. It is an easy matter for me. Please, issue the orders, and I will do everything you ask of me. I will hunt down those deceitful heathens with maximum speed and bring their heads on spears before you, master." Light asked her to wait and to spare them, but May knew her master was kind-hearted, so she told him, "They do not deserve mercy, master." Light replied, "I put my trust in them, and they deceived me. I almost died after being severely beaten, and I was brought to this hell. But this is only because I was weak. Therefore, I need to become stronger. Maybe it's impossible for a human like me, but I want revenge with my own hands, and I will make them all suffer. Do you think this is a far-fetched dream, May?" She bowed to him and granted her master this wish. "If personal revenge is what you seek, master, it is my honor, and I will help you accomplish that. I believe in your potential more than anything else, master." Light was very happy with her words. Light began to activate his gacha again in this mana-filled place to establish a kingdom capable of paving the way for revenge. The black depths were flooded with bright light, becoming the first page in his great story of vengeance. Wait for us in the next episode, a very exciting episode of this anime. Wait for us in the next episode and find out what Light will do with those traitors and deceivers. Before you leave this video, we ask you to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell button to receive all that is new.
3 years went by in this place, and Light had created a kingdom of his own in this abyss. Every maid were a fangirl of Light, and that just irritated me so much. But Light told to mind them, and goes around his land on a survey. There were many stores and people living here, and everyone respects Light. He's the ruler here, and he takes care of them, like their safety and their necessities. After that survey, He asked about others, and Mei said Aoyuki is currently creating a map of the abyss and the surface, and she reported nothing unusual. And then comes the mage, Lady Ellie, who's been developing new magic for Light's plan, and it was also in good flow. She's dumb, and she's doing the patrol duty of the castle right now. With that, he arrived to meet Jack, another powerful summon. And he gets too casual with Light, but Light never minds because he saw Jack as an older brother. In this 3 years, Jack has trained Light in close quarters and turned him into a pure monster. By the way, Nazuna was really doing her job and met the 4 maids on the way. She was happy to carry out Light's work, and maids started praising her for such honest work. Nuna is easily manipulated, so the maids asked for a favor. Then she went to a place that was off limits to other maids, and she found Mei in that place. Mei was cleaning up Light's room, but Nuna went inside and saw the bedsheet was a mess, and by the looks of it, she was sniffing it. But Nazuna is too pure, or rather too naive to understand this sort of things. That's why Mei came up with some stupid reason, and she believed her words. But then she remembers the message those 4 maids sent. It says, "Stop monopolizing Master Light's room, because they also want equal rights, you tyrant Mei." But the last part was hard for Nazuna to understand. But Mei got it fully. It was the curse words, and Mei decided to punish them. But first, she gives a few penny to Nuna to send her away like a kid. She quickly went to snack stores to buy some dorayaki and milk. But on the way, she found Aoyuki. Aoyuki was supposed to be on the surface, but she did already. Aoyuki had the habit of mimicking a cat. So, it's hard to converse with her sometimes. But when Nazuna said she could depend on her, she instantly pulled out her report to show she can do anything on her own. With that, Nazuna continues her duties and came to the throne room. There she got all clingy with Light's throne, but in emotional flow, she accidentally broke the side wing of his throne, so she swiftly ran off after putting it back. Meanwhile, Light went to bath with Jack after a tiring session of fighting, which implies Light is now completely ready to return to the surface to exact his revenge. After that, Mei called in the 4 who sent that complaint through Nazuna, and she was calm, or rather, she was trying to stay calm, but the 4 said they just wanted to lighten her workload in their own way. But Mei remembers the last part of their complaint. It wasn't friendly at all. And worse, they sent it through Nazuna. Now they all started to blame each other, but in any case, Mei assigned them to clean the whole hallway till the throne room with hand. Besides, she has to go to the surface soon, so she told them to work in her absence. In the meantime, Nazuna meets with Ellie, and her work was proceeding smoothly, so she had some spare time on hand. Ellie always picks on Nazuna, so she tries to prove how smart she is. But Nazuna knew she knows nothing about surrounding, and that caused a scene. And then Ellie said how she wants to invite Light to her room for dinner. Nazuna is too pure that she doesn't understand at all. She literally thought Ellie meant dinner only. So after that, Nazuna tried to show she also has an upper hand. Ellie is a mage, so she's not good in close combat, and asked to rely on her. Even Ellie can't be mad on such a pure lady. And that's how she goes away to resume her patrol duty. But somewhere in the castle, 4 maids were still frustrated how Mei was hogging Light all for herself. They wanted to get fair treatment, but Mei is way stronger than them. They also want to go to Light's room and go through all of his belongings. And bed as well. But one of them was weird with her taste, because she wanted to use the same utensils as Light. The other 3 found it creepy, but they also want to do the same. But their biggest obstacles is Mei. After all, she's the summon Light pulled, so they can't do much. But it reminds them that the second gacha pull took 3 months, which means Mei was all alone with Light in this dungeon. Their fantasy ran wild, and Mei heard all of their nonsense from outside, even the part where they were praying for her death. So, one by one, everyone took a U-turn and said they're always loyal to her to sugarcoat her. But still, Mei said that 3 months when they were alone, Light was always working hard, so they didn't do anything they were thinking about. But besides that, Mei added another punishment to this for a clean throne room as well. So, when they were in the throne room cleaning it up, the part Nazuna broke fell down, and they thought it was their mistake. But the real culprit was relaxing at night in her room. But the next day, it was time for them to head back on the surface, and watching Light being chummy with Aoki Ellie also tried to hit on him, but a hellhound appears there, and the trauma from 3 years ago still shakes up Light. Watching that, girls got so ticked that they decided to wipe out the entire hellhound breed. But Light calms him down since he's okay. And furthermore, it's time to put their plan into motion. And that's how the hunt for revenge starts. And right there, our episode ends. But stay tuned to watch more of its episode, and for that make sure you subscribe the channel and hit the bell icon. Our episode begins with the monster Guru's procession with his followers through the city center. As their champion, Everyone greeted him with overwhelming joy, glorifying him like a king. One of the monsters behind him even offered him his sister's hand in marriage, but Garou paid him no attention, as his current interests were far beyond that. At that moment, Garou spotted a miserable human boy scavenging for food in the trash. Instead of ignoring him, he deliberately walked towards him and struck him with his foot, knocking him to the ground. Garou enjoyed bullying and humiliating the boy before gathering his crew and heading to a private room. In the room, the followers began to exalt and praise Garou, as was their custom. One of them said, "You are a miracle, Garou. You rose from the poor monster district and became the closest candidate for the new leadership." Another added, "Even the current leader recognizes your strength." They asked him how he reached such a position. Garou puffed up with pride and said, "All I do is follow my animalistic instinct, which always guides me to the best traits. Like the mission I took 3 years ago. The requirement was to pretend affiliation with the racial unification group and eliminate a human suspected of possessing mysterious power." He continued coldly, "I didn't care to confirm his death, as his weakness guaranteed his demise after what he suffered. It's best to forget that wretch." Suddenly, the door opened and a very elegant girl entered. It was May. She asked in a calm voice, "Are you Garou? I want to ask you about someone named Light." His men shouted at her, but Garou raised his hand and said, "Leave her. I want to know what she wants." May said, "I am the servant of Mr. Light, and I have come from a distant country searching for him. My master is from a large and noble family, and I have served him for a long time." Garou doubted her words, thinking, "This doesn't align with the search information done by those who hired me." It was never mentioned that he was from a noble family, but the girl's appearance indeed suggested wealth. Garou smiled and said, "All right, what exactly is your request?" May said, "I received news that Mr. Light died in the dungeon about 3 years ago. I want you to take me to the place of his death to pay my respects, and I will give you pure gold in return." Garou smelled treachery, wondering why she would pay so much gold to visit an old place. But when he looked at her, he found her to be just a weak human, so he laughed inwardly and said out loud, "I will help you. Not for the money, but because Light was my friend, and I want to honor him." May smiled inwardly with cunning, knowing he was lying, and thanked him and expressed her gratitude. After a full month of travel, they finally reached the place of Light's disappearance. However, Garou was planning to attack May and leave her to die the same way Light had died. As soon as they arrived, May knelt on the ground, tears falling, imagining the difficult moments Light endured in the dungeon's darkness. Garou began his performance. The poor fellow was suddenly attacked by a monster and fell into a transfer trap before we could save him. At the same time, his men quietly moved to close the exit, preparing for the attack. But before they could attack, May said in a voice full of rage, "If I had been with Mr. Light from the start, he would not have been betrayed and fallen into the hands of scum like you." Garou froze and stepped back. "How does she know these details of the betrayal?" He yelled at her. "How do you know this? You're a spy!" Me breathed angrily and said, "How dare you compare me to them? I am Mr. Light's servant, and the penalty for anyone who doubts my loyalty is death." Garou felt a sudden terror. This ordinary human was emitting a terrifying aura that made his animalistic instinct scream to run. May was about to turn into a massacre, but a calm voice came from behind her. "Enough, May. Leave him. He is my prey." Garou and his men stiffened in place. They hadn't felt anyone approach. When they looked, they found Light standing before them. Garou's eyes widened in disbelief. "Impossible! How is Light alive?" Light looked at him coldly and said, "I came back to take my due with my own hands, Garou." Garou burst out laughing. "You, the weak one. I am now at level 150, and you are at level 15. How will you even touch me?" He believed that killing Light would make him the greatest champion for the leader. Light said calmly, "Don't you want to ask me how I survived?" Garou laughed sarcastically. "Surely this lady rescued you after your transfer," which was actually true. Garou yelled at his men to attack. 2 of them quickly lunged, but their heads flew off in an instant. The rest of the men froze in terror, unable even to see May as she finished them off. Light said to May calmly, "Thank you, but from here on, I'll take care of everything. Guard the exit and don't let anyone escape." Garou tried to compose himself and said to his remaining men, "Don't worry, we won't be defeated by a few weak humans." Light laughed and said, "The one who says this is the weakest of you," Garou snapped. "That's nonsense. Humans are the weakest beings and have no power." Light raised an eyebrow. "Then how are the heads of 2 of your strongest men rolling now?" Garou ignored him. That was their mistaken stupidity, and he yelled, "Let's go for him!" They all rushed at once, but Light didn't move. In seconds, he finished them off one by one with a single blow. Garou fell to the ground, disbelieving. Light stood over him and said, "Is this your strength? You are nothing. You think you are superior to humans? You are worthless." Garou decided to use his last card. He broke a contract on his neck, and a huge light burst out, revealing a giant Fenrir-type monster, level 500. Garou screamed confidently, "This is your end, Light! This monster will wipe you out of existence with a single breath." Light stood before him with strange composure and smiled. Level 500? Still very weak for me. Garou was terrified. "Are you insane? It's impossible for you to defeat it. Kneel and beg for mercy." Light said, "All right, let me show you the difference. I won't move from my spot. Hit me with your strongest attack!" Garou yelled at the monster to attack. The monster moved and unleashed a massive energy, a devastating attack called Killer Beast Howl, capable of destroying an entire fortress. The explosion was terrifying, and dust covered the area. Garou laughed maniacally, but when the smoke began to clear, his face froze. Light was standing in his place, without a single scratch or a hair moved. Light said with a quiet, sarcastic tone, "This is the attack you were excited about? It's not even enough to warm the air around me." He looked at the monster and said, "You call this weak creature Fenrir? It's barely a small dog." Light extended his hand and pulled out a magic card. "Now let me show you what a true Fenrir looks like." He opened the card, and a massive vortex appeared, out of which an ancient, gigantic wolf emerged, its eye glowing blue, its power freezing the air. He said, "This is the true monster level 9000. Garou was paralyzed in his spot. When the wolf looked towards Garou's Fenrir, it took a single breath, and the monster Garou summoned froze instantly and shattered like ice. Garou stood petrified, disbelieving. He said in fear, "This is impossible. What is this monster?" Light said calmly, "Don't worry, it was just a small demonstration. I could have finished your monster with my hand." Then he pointed to the status screen open before him. Garou looked, and his face changed, his hand trembling. Light's level was 99999. He screamed in disbelief, "This isn't real! There is no level that reaches this number." He swallowed hard and said with tears and fear, "You can't be Light. You are a devil!" Light approached him and said, "Does it matter to you whether I am Light or not? In the end, your fate is the same." Garou completely lost hope, threw down his weapon, and fell to his knees, pleading, "Please forgive me. I was following orders. You are the true king of magic. Please let me live." Light looked coldly and said, "Before I decide, I have questions you must answer truthfully." Garou agreed immediately. Light said, "First, why did your superiors order you to search for people named the Masters?" Garou was confused. "I don't know who the Masters are. I was following orders." Light said, "Then why, after they confirmed I was not one of them, did they decide to kill me?" Garou said fearfully, "They were orders from above. Your existence must be completely erased, but I don't know the reason." Light was silent for a moment, then looked at Garou's followers and asked them, "Do you know anything about the Masters?" They all replied at the same moment, "Yes, we know." May moved at lightning speed and sliced them all with her sword, saying in a terrifying voice, "The punishment for liars before Light is death." Light looked at Garou and said calmly, "One last question before I decide your fate. If you lie, May knows the truth, and your end will be worse than death." Garou felt frozen. Light said, "Since you have a strong sense, do you think I can win any war against the kings outside the dungeon now?" Garou hesitated and was stressed, but finally said, "With your power, you might win the beginning, but you will lose. You are alone. War is armies and numbers, and in the end, you will be defeated." Light smiled, certain of his answer, and said, "You're right, but let me show you something that will change your mind. Nios dia speak when endusescent." He extended his hand and pulled out a magic card, and light covered the area. When Garou opened his eyes, he found himself in a huge throne room with many armies before him. He was terrified. Then he saw Light's true army, thousands of fighters in regular ranks. Light walked towards the throne and said loudly, "Display your levels!" The soldiers showed their energy. Garou was paralyzed when he saw the numbers. Most of them were above level 5000, and the weakest was 1500. He stammered, "The whole level is above 5000. Even the weakest of them is stronger than all our soldiers." Light said confidently, "And now, Garou, after seeing my army with your own eyes, do you still think a war against the kings is impossible?" Garou could not reply. His face twisted with fear. He said, "You won't just defeat them, you'll make a shawarma out of them too." Light smiled coldly. "I was sure of that. Now that you've confirmed with your own eyes that victory is easy for me." He approached him, his voice heavy like a devil's echo. "Since you were honest with me, I will reward you for your honesty." Garou's face lit up with hope. "You'll forgive me then?" Light chuckled lightly. "Of course it's impossible for me to forgive you, Garou." Then his tone darkened. "I won't kill you, because killing you is a great mercy. I will make you live, but you will wish for death every moment." And he ordered his soldiers to prepare to go to the surface. So, what is our hero planning? And what is the punishment he has prepared for Garou? If you are excited, champion, for the continuation of the events, don't forget to support us with a like and subscription. Yo, ditch the boring isekai tropes! When this guy got pulled into a fantasy realm, he didn't get some crazy laser eyes or anything. He just got Amazon Prime privileges. Seriously, meet Makoto, the OG underdog of these worlds. And his main cheat code? He can actually cook deadass! He's slinging 5-star grub using stuff no one else can even see. Picture this. You're chowing down on a beast steak dusted with some legit wizard seasoning. It's straight up hilarious, makes your mouth water, and it's totally extra. You gotta tune in for the most insane munchies quest ever, cause here, taste is king. This ain't your typical quest. It's a straight up foodie flex. You gotta catch campfire cooking in another world. What up, everybody? Today, we're diving into the long-awaited second season of Campfire Cooking in Another World. But hold up. First, drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. Hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so you don't miss any of the new anime goodness. The second season kicks off right in the forest. Spiders were everywhere, creeping on this wild rabbit, but Fenrir, that's the wolf, remember, was already on it. He straight up zapped them with electric lightning, knocking them flat one by one. Finally, we see Makoto, and he's like, man, these hairy spiders are straight up stupid. But seriously, what are we gonna do with all these things, buddy?
Fenrir chimes in, I don't know, man.
That poisonous tarantula shell is way too tough to even chew. Makoto flips out, wait, what?
These things are even edible. That is so gross. Then Sui pops out of hiding, asking, is it over?
I wanna play. Makoto tells him, go ahead, buddy. It's all safe and chill now. This ticks Fenrir off. Dude, why are you always sweet-talking Sui, but you basically ignore me? Makoto gives him a confused look. Are you serious? I talk to you and listen too, Fen. Are you tripping? Every single day you're telling me what grub you want. I want meat.
No veggies.
I need a hot drink. Who the heck does all that for you, you big goofy wolf?
Fenrir snaps back. Fine, fine.
Just go make my meal. I was carrying you two all day, so I deserve some seriously good eats.
You guys should be thanking your lucky stars. You get a ride on a legendary magical beast like me.
But before they peace out, Makoto hits his magic inventory and hoards all the spiders, thinking,
maybe they'll be useful later. 30 minutes of walking later,
he starts thinking, what should we grub on today? He sets up his table and gets some meat out. He settles on gyoza, but first they need wrappers and spices from the online store. He zaps the store open, buys the stuff in 2 seconds flat. The box, maybe with some ketchup, mayo, and the secret sauce, drops right there.
He preps the cilantro and veggies, ready to throw down. He chops the veggies, then adds ginger and garlic paste to the ground meat.
Also some soy sauce, sake, chicken broth powder, and finally, sesame oil, salt, and pepper. Since you can't taste raw meat while seasoning, you gotta be super careful with the mix.
Then you just mash it all together until it sticks. Next, he throws in Japanese chives and cabbage, the stuff he salted and drained, mixes it for 3 minutes.
Then he takes the filling, the dough, and wraps it up like a tiny burrito. He tries to use less filling. Sui tries one, and it's fire. Then he lines up the gyoza and cooks them on medium heat.
Once they start changing color, he hits it with some water, covers the pan for 15 minutes, adds sesame oil, and boom!
You get the perfect looking gyoza you see right there. The fully seasoned gyoza is ready. What do you guys think? Drop a comment. Did your mouth water? I went heavy on the seasoning and the filling, so this stuff should taste great by itself. He serves it to Fenrir and Sui, though a little chili oil and soy sauce on the side never hurt nobody. Fenrir eats it and is genuinely impressed. The meat and juices just pop when he bites down. That crispy crust and the meaty filling, real good.
They finish up and ask for seconds. Finally, Makoto eats his plate and washes it down with some soda.
But bam, he gets a huge shock. A small red dragon is plastered right onto his face. He screams, help me, help me! The dragon flies in front of him.
Fenrir sizes up the situation. Whoa, that's a super rare Pakishi dragon.
He wants food! Makoto offers him the gyoza. The dragon scarfs it down happily in seconds, wanting more. Fenrir warns Makoto, don't sleep on this little guy. He might be small, but he's super tough. These guys are fast and seriously good at all kinds of magic. The dragon gives him this weird look, flies around, and then says, this food is bangin'. Give me another serving. Makoto is totally floored that he can talk.
The dragon then drops the bomb. I don't mind becoming your familiar, as long as I get to keep eating grub this good. Makoto is practically short-circuited, that the dragon sounds just like them. Wait, you're becoming a familiar just for some chow?
Are you for real?
You need to seriously rethink that. The Pakishi dragon tells him, your cooking is the best thing I've ever tasted. Simple as that.
I get to eat better food if I stick with you. Fenrir chimes in, look, signing a contract with a human for a few decades isn't a huge loss for us. The dragon turns back to Makoto. Okay, first thing you gotta do as my master is give me a cool name. Makoto thinks, how about Dora-chan? The dragon loses it. Are you kidding me? Give me a proper name. Don't treat me like a kid. I'm a grown dragon, 116 years old, but the name gets locked into the system anyway.
Fenrir sighs.
Don't expect much from this obnoxious human. He gave me a bunch of terrible names that annoyed me before he finally settled on Fenrir. The dragon, now named Dora-chan, totally hits it off with Sui, bouncing around on him like he's a giant bouncy ball. Next up, the Adventurers Guild. The receptionist is like, welcome. Your familiar registration is all set. I honestly never thought I'd be registering a dragon as a familiar. That's wild. But she warns him, our guild master has a special request for you. Makoto asks, why me? Right then, the guild master, Rodolfo, rolls up. You must be Mukoda. Pleasure to meet you, dummy. That must be your Pekishi dragon. I heard rumors, but never thought I'd see one in person. Mukoda leans in. What do you want, boss? The manager gets straight to the point. He wants to offer him a mission, a forest investigation. The forest has been acting weird lately. Even though it's not mating season, the monsters are super aggressive. Mukoda asks, why doesn't everyone just avoid the forest? The manager gets annoyed. We can't do that. The webbing from the insect monsters in that forest is the raw material we need for our town's high-quality fabric. If we lose our source of materials, the town's trade will take a serious hit. The town's gonna struggle if we lose our raw materials. Can you help us out? Mukoda figured he couldn't handle the job because he couldn't brave a dangerous forest like that. But the dragon tells him the northern forest is a total breeze. It's crawling with spiders, and those things are super weak. Suddenly, Mukoda realizes that's the exact forest they were just in. They'd wiped out every single spider in their way. Fell pipes up saying, yeah, I totally handled them all with my lightning magic. The guildmaster couldn't even believe it. Then, Mukoda pulls one of the dead spiders they just killed out of his item box. The boss is floored, totally stunned that he had one right then and there. Fell explains, I kinda went on a rampage, so I punished it. Mukoda apologized, saying he didn't realize those monsters were valuable to the guildmaster's town. But Mukoda had it wrong. The boss actually needs them dead, so he can use their meat. It's seriously delicious. These things reproduce like crazy, so they often had to organize subjugation squads to deal with them. Mukoda takes them all out of his magic gate, storage, and the boss thanks him profusely. This was the first time someone solved a problem before he even asked. He tells Makoto the venomous spider shells and webs make a ton of cash. And the meat? It's bomb when boiled in salt water. Mukoda's animal buddies get super excited, everyone wanting to try it out if it's that tasty. Mukoda asks the guildmaster to sell the shells and webs, on the condition that he processes them first. The boss agrees. I'll process the meat special, so it can be eaten right away. After that, Mukoda and his crew head to the market to check things out and buy some high-quality, cheap clothes. Mukoda starts checking the fabric and realizes the material is seriously amazing. The merchant pops up and assures him he won't find this cloth this cheap anywhere else. Fell says, all clothes look the same to me. Mukoda gets mad and snaps, you don't care because you've got your fur covering you. But I have needs. Mukoda buys some of the cloth and heads back to the boss, hoping the processing is done. Sure enough, he finds the guild master finished. The spider meat has been separated and looks exactly like crab. The boss says it tastes super sweet after boiling. Mukoda tries a piece and finds it seriously delicious, tasting like crab, only better. Everyone crowds around, wanting a bite. Mukoda starts cooking, fried rice loaded with the minced meat, salad, and crab omelets. He plans on making meatballs too, if he has time, all to celebrate the great dragon, Dora-chan. Everyone digs in. Fell raves that the crab omelet has the richness and sweetness of the venomous spiders, perfectly complemented by the tender eggs and that sweet and salty sauce. It's awesome with the rice too. We see everyone eating happily. Dora, though, is eating food that's way too hot. Those fried spring rolls are scorching. Mukoda starts grilling some of the crab on the stove. It's not actually crab, but it looks a lot like grilled crab. Fell catches a scent different from what they were eating. He zips over to Mukoda and accuses him, "You're hiding food from us." That smells amazing. Everyone crowds around, wanting a taste of whatever he's making. He gives them some, and they decide it's the most delicious thing they've ever had. It practically melts in their mouths. Dora is thrilled and says, "Thank goodness I met a chef like you. I heard so much about you and searched forever until I found you." That evening, they head back home and hit the warm bath. Mukoda and Sui really enjoyed it. They hoped Fell and Dora would join them, but they see them just sprawled out. Dora mutters, "I can't eat another bite." Their stomachs were totally stuffed. Mukoda tells them that happens all the time when you eat crab. Mukoda heads to bed. "It was a rough day. I'll swing by the guild tomorrow and hand over the shells to Guild Master Rudolph. I feel like I forgot something, but whatever. I'm crashing now." The next morning, Mukoda hands the shells over to the boss, who is stoked. He also gives him some of the uneaten spider meat, telling him he has more. He opens his magical item box to pull out more, and staring him right in the face is the earth dragon that Fell had hunted before. It was a massive, annoying catch, so he'd left it stored away. "I really need need to deal with this thing, he thinks. He then asks the boss, hey, I heard there's someone in Doran who knows a ton about dragons. Do you know who that is? The guildmaster says he has an idea. Mukoda, trying to look casual, says, I was hoping to find someone who could process this thing. The boss is absolutely blown away. This is the first time he's ever seen one in real life. I heard you could buy a whole kingdom with one of those. Fel chimes in, it was no match for me. The boss compliments him, you are seriously strong. The guildmaster then hands Mukoda a piece of paper with the address of the person who knows all about dragons. Mukoda thanks him big time. After that, they plan to head off to Doran, and that's a wrap for today's episode. Tune in next time for more of this awesome anime. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything new. Our episode today begins with the great Mukoda and the handsome wolf standing on the outskirts of the great nation of Dolan. It is a massive city featuring an enormous dungeon. Sori emerges from the satchel and says, Sori wants to venture into that dungeon. I'm ready for the adventure right now. The dragon approaches and tells Mukoda, don't worry about the dungeon yet. Shouldn't we process the earth dragon meat first? We need to eat this meat. They take off at the speed of a rocket, finally arriving at the city limits. The walls were incredibly high. They observe a huge queue leading to the main city gate, but they realize they must stand in this line and display their guild card, or they will never be allowed inside. The wolf asks, wouldn't it be faster to jump over the walls? Mukoda scolds him, you idiot! If we do that, we'll be arrested immediately. If we can't enter the city, we won't be able to process the meat you love. The wolf grumbles, fine, what can you do? They join the queue, but the people around them stare in amazement, asking, what are these huge creatures? And look at that small, rare red dragon. Just then, the guards spot them and ask, what is all this commotion? Who are you? Mukoda replies, we are visitors from another land and wish to enter this city. I am officially registered with the guild. He pulls out his guild card. When the guards examine it, they confirm it is genuine. At that moment, a strange man approaches and says, a moment, please. He then informs the guards that Mukoda is his guest. I am certain he has two extremely rare companion creatures with him. Mukoda asks him, who are you? Are you Island? Mukoda recognizes him. He is indeed the tall, big-eared elf. Yes, friends, he is the guild master of Dolan City himself. However, when he looked at the small dragon, he was completely stunned. He immediately takes Mukoda and his companions and hosts them in his private office. Mukoda is overjoyed because he won't have to wait in that long, vast queue. The guild master brings over a strange object and tells the dragon, please, sit here. It was a chair crafted from mana-infused wood. I heard that pixie dragons only sit on this type of tree. We then see the guildmaster, visibly excited, taking notes and offering them tea. Meanwhile, the dragon is served mana-infused flower nectar. He was utterly captivated by it. This is truly magnificent. Would you sell it to me? He asks. Mukoda replies, I don't sell anything. He is my friend, and he only wants me, no one else. Island says, all right, let's head to the warehouse and start processing the meat right away. They arrive at the warehouse. When Island opens the door, he is surprised to find a man named Agor, who informs him that he has a meeting with the Merchants Guild, scheduled for the afternoon. The guild master asks, can we cancel that meeting? Agor gives him a sharp, strange look that visibly stuns Island, even without a word being exchanged. Mukoda quickly intervenes and apologizes to Agor, and the meeting is postponed. Island puts on a pair of specialized gloves and tells Mukoda, show me the specimen. I have waited for this day with bated breath for over 200 years. I retired from being an adventurer and took the position of guildmaster, hoping I would process an earth dragon, but I never had the chance. Now the opportunity is before my very eyes. Come on, bring out what you have, Mukoda. Mukoda reveals the massive earth dragon. The guildmaster is aghast. Oh, the magnificence. It truly is a giant earth creature. I can't believe it. I can't believe I get to dissect the anatomy of this dragon at my leisure. But I am an expert in such things, he continues. First, we must document a full record of this colossal achievement. He measures it inch by inch and centimeter by centimeter. Body length, internal organs, number of fangs, bite force, everything in meticulous detail. Mukoda interrupts him. Listen closely. I've confirmed that this dragon's diet is not the flower nectar you gave him. What does he usually eat? Mukoda explains. First, his name is Dora. As for his food, he eats anything. I don't think he has specific dietary requirements or restrictions. We all eat the food I prepare for them, like meat and vegetables. The guildmaster looks shocked. Dora, who understands Mukoda's language well, says, they eat anything, but our main meal is meat. The guildmaster is even more surprised. What is going on? Is he talking to him? How can he understand its language? Makoto explains the situation. He usually communicates with me through telepathy. The guild master grabs him, completely shaken. What? This is the first time in my long elven life I've heard of telepathy.
Tell me all the details about this right now.
The wolf speaks up and tells Island, listen, you pampered boy. Make sure you process that meat perfectly and serve it to us properly. The guild master replies, not only that, but parts of the dragon, like the hide and the blood,
are valuable materials everyone desperately fights to get. The wolf scoffs, I'm not interested in such things.
They are worthless compared to the deliciousness of the dragon's meat. The guild master is shocked again.
What? You are going to eat the earth dragon?
He looks at Makoto. Why are you so surprised, guild master?
We will all eat it together. Island grasps Makoto's hand and pleads, tears welling up. Please, allow me to share the earth dragon meat too.
I don't need any of the other parts. I beg you please.
Makoto says, actually, Phil is the one who decides that. He means the big wolf. The wolf approaches and tells Island, listen carefully, Island.
If you can process the dragon meat correctly, I don't mind sharing a small portion with you. Island thanks him profusely. The scene shifts to the morning. Makoto and his group are sleeping on the floor, discussing the dragon meat. I'm so hungry I could die. I'm starving, master. We must eat that meat today, or I will start doing strange things. Sori was also hungry. Everyone was tired and ready to eat. But where was the food? Makoto considers the situation.
Let's order something from the internet grocer. The wolf asks, do they have wagyu?
I want to eat wagyu, Makoto explains. They are holding the keto fair, a place in Makoto's world that has truly delicious food.
We will get food from there today. We need some Genghis Khan, marinated mutton lamb. They also have a set that comes with a beautiful pot, the delicious savory stew, and let's get some pre-cut vegetables. We can add that souvenir too. In moments, the box is immediately delivered. It's an amazing thing. Everyone is astonished. Makoto retrieves his gear, pulls out the burner, and begins the process of heating the pot without oil.
Then he adds the meat to the center of the pot and pours the sauce around it, letting it simmer. They flip the meat once the sauce starts producing large bubbles. The lamb and pork are tastiest when they aren't overcooked. Once finished, he serves everyone. The wolf sniffs the dish and finally tastes it.
He finds it incredibly delicious. The dragon says, this meat is incredibly tender. I have never eaten anything this delicious before. After finishing their meal, everyone settled down to sleep. Makoto reflected, today was exhausting, but everything worked out in the end. The online grocer saved me today.
I got these as a souvenir before. He pulls out some sweets. Sori wakes up and wants to try some. He eats one and finds it incredibly delicious. Everyone else wakes up and comes over to sample the tasty candy. Makoto hands each of them a piece. They find them marvelous and melt in your mouth. Phil demands another piece because of their tiny size relative to him, and everyone follows suit.
Finally, Makoto gives them all more,
leaving them extremely happy. Soon after, Makoto and his friends, still showing signs of fatigue from lack of sleep, head to the guild. The vice guild master receives them. Makoto asks about Island's condition regarding the earth dragon. Just then, the guild master emerges, declaring, I am intensely excited now. I spent the entire night measuring, analyzing, and studying every aspect.
His eyes show clear signs of exhaustion.
He hasn't slept at all. He boasts, this is the most productive I've been in my elven life. Makoto is pleased. The guild master puts on his gloves and prepares to begin processing. First, he intends to drain the blood, seeking to minimize damage to the surface as much as possible.
Since the dragon's hide is exceptionally tough, he brought the Adventurers Guild's precious mithril knife. He begins applying the knife to a piece of the hide, and suddenly the knife snaps. Everyone is terrified. This knife is the guild's treasure.
According to the records, mithril should easily be able to cut the dragon's skin. The guild master exclaims, we must acquire a knife made of a material stronger than mithril, and we must get it fast. Phil becomes extremely anxious because he wants to eat the meat immediately. Makoto informs them that the meat cannot be processed right away. Phil is stunned, collapsing to the floor in despair, shouting, we traveled all this way just to enjoy dragon meat.
The vice guild master informs them, our guild doesn't possess any other mithril knives. However, we might be able to obtain some mithril ore from the dungeon. Phil instantly gets up, invigorated, and says, this will be the perfect opportunity to vent this frustration. Makoto reminds him that the guild master is exhausted today, so they should rest. But Phil is determined to go to the dungeon. Makoto tries to stop him, but it's useless. Phil tells him, no need to accompany me.
I can retrieve some of that ore myself. In the end, Makoto convinces them not to go today, arguing, if we go now, we will draw attention, and then we won't be able to travel and eat delicious food. It will cause a huge problem. Makoto then announces that it is time for lunch. Everyone cheers. Our chef, Makoto, begins preparing the ingredients. He starts by stir-frying some sliced orc meat, adding some vegetables, the ones they hadn't used in the previous Genghis Khan hot pot. He adds a sauce to the meat and vegetables, along with some garlic paste for depth and sesame oil. Phil exclaims, "It smells so good!" The garlic and sesame oil make it smell delicious. Makoto serves the finished dish, adding an egg on top of each plate to make it even more appetizing. They start eating, finding the food incredibly flavorful and aromatic. Everyone is delighted. Makoto thinks to himself, "Thank goodness I managed to distract them from dungeon exploration. Still, we have to do something about processing that meat." The scene then shifts to a group of minor celestial rejects arguing amongst themselves. A couple of neglected male spirits appear, shocked because the females are hiding something. They are coercing mortals into giving them gifts and offerings. The female spirits defend themselves, claiming, "That's not true. We aren't wicked." Makoto, hearing them from another location via remote telepathy, tells them, "Please, settle your disputes among yourselves." The yellow-haired spirit says, "I am the neglected Forge Master spirit in this world, Hephaestus." The other says, "And I am the minor spirit of battle, Vahagan." Makoto then asks Hephaestus about the mithril knife. The Forge Master spirit informs him, "You can forge a high-quality knife from the same mithril ore, but I want something in return. I want offerings, and also to grant you my power." Makoto asks both spirits to grant their powers to Phil, Dora, and all his companions. Makoto then notices that Sori has gained a new skill, forging. "We should test this out once we get the mithril ore," he thinks. Phil suddenly exclaims, "I completely forgot. We have ore from the mithril lizard we hunted in the past." Makoto is surprised when Phil says this, realizing he does have this ore from the lizard. He says to Phil, "You knew we had the ore, yet you still tried to go into the dungeon." Makoto takes out the ore and gives it to Sori, asking, "Can you turn this into the same kind of knife the guildmaster broke?" Sori tries and successfully forges a knife like it, an enhanced mithril knife. It is extremely strong, meaning they will finally be able to cut and process the dragon. And with that, today's episode ends. Wait for us in upcoming episodes of this wonderful anime, Chef Makoto. But before you go, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell icon to receive all our new content. We kindly ask everyone who watched until the end of this episode to let us know where you are watching us from.